Welcome to Real Estate Real Talk with me, Skyleigh. I'm a realtor, coach, and founder of Forever Kamloops and Forever Kelowna Real Estate Groups and the creator of Elevation Real Estate, the realtor coaching platform. After nearly a decade in this industry, I've built a business that gives me more freedom, more income, and more time with the people I love. And now I'm here to help other realtors do the same. This podcast is for agents who want to build a thriving real estate business without burning out. We talk about scaling smart and building systems so you can buy back your life, because life shouldn't feel like all work and no play. And if you're a buyer or seller tuning in, consider this your backstage pass. You'll hear unfiltered conversations with top agents and industry pros, giving you the same insights we share behind closed doors. Knowledge is power, and the more you know, the better you can advocate for yourself and work with someone who truly has your back. Let's get real. Okay, welcome to Real Estate Real Talk. I am so excited to be here with Cindi Jarvis today. She has a niche for working with seniors, which I think is a amazing niche to work with. And I also feel like not enough people actually focus on this niche, and it's a very underserviced kind of section of demographic of people. So I'm really excited for our conversation today. But before we kind of get started, I wanted to introduce Cindi because she has been in the industry for 5 years. And while, Cindi, you made it sound like that's not very long, I feel like you've really grabbed onto something that a lot of people don't grab onto, and that is actually like niching down for your clientele. So there's so many people who get in and they just want to work with anybody and everybody, but they don't specialize in anything. And I think that the saying goes that like you can either be like a jack of all trades is actually like a jack of none. So right. I think it's really great that you've like really niched down. And on top of that, your ideal client is always going to be the person that you were a handful of years ago, because you've done the thing that you're helping people do. So you mentioned in your bio that you are a senior as well. And I think it just makes complete sense that you would be wanting to help people like you, right? That's one reason that I help families, because I have young kids. So it just makes a lot of sense. And you've also created a program to help people through loss, which is a really hard thing to navigate. So I love that as well. And then I think that you mentioned that you actually do, oh my goodness, now I'm losing my words. There's a course that you do or a seminar.
Yes, I do a seminar at Greater Good Health, which is a place that people can come and get medical care. And they also have a great conference room. So I offer different seminars concerning aging in place, or if you did want to sell, what are the things that you should consider? Or is a reverse mortgage right for you? Those kind of things.
Yeah, I love that. And then you're a proud grandma too. I had my jaw drop when you told me how many grandkids you have. What did you say, 17?
Yes, 17.
17. Yeah. I thought you were going to say 7, and then you're like teen at the end.
No, and hopefully a couple more that'll be added. So we'll see.
Oh my gosh. I love big families. Like I always had it in my head that I wanted to be the house for our family that just had the biggest table for Christmas. And everyone just comes home. And I've always had that picture of like when my kids have kids, that I'm like, I want to be the house that everyone wants to come home to. So I love the big family. And you made a joke about having to work really hard through Christmas because you have 17 grandkids. Like,
so true.
So cute. True. Okay. So where are you located right now then?
I'm in Billings, Montana.
Okay, so you are still in Montana. I wasn't sure if you were still in Montana after you mentioned that you had moved after COVID, I think.
Yes, after COVID. So I was in the Flathead area of Montana. So I've remained in Montana, but it's about 8 hours apart. In Montana, we have a lot of road in between our cities usually, and quite a few mountains, rivers, and things to cross to get there.
Okay. And so how do you feel about Montana as being a place for people to settle down and retire?
Oh, it's awesome here. We had quite an influx during COVID for people that either wanted to be able to be alone more or to have more freedom to be out and about with all of our fresh air and wide open spaces, all of that. And you could always be on the lakes and not be 6 feet close to anybody else. So it's just been a great place. There's a lot of cities here. Billings is one of them where it's a little less expensive than the rest of Montana, where people can come and find a place to retire or downsize or whatever they're looking for.
I love that. So it sounds like a really good place for a lifestyle after
Mhm.
retirement, which it makes me actually really sad how there's a large group of people that work their entire lives to not even be able to afford to retire and enjoy life. Yeah, thinking about what you want your life to look like at retirement. I hope people are starting to plan their retirement a little bit more. I actually had my license for financial advising for a number of years, and it was just really sad looking behind the curtains at what people have going on. So, with that being said, is there people who approach you that might be asking you in advance before they're actually getting to the stages of retiring and downsizing and all that stuff and like strategizing a plan behind it? Like, how early do people reach out to you?
Yes, somewhat, but really that's where we're trying to market to more because just like you say, the senior real estate specialist training that I've had is really for people 55 plus. So it's well advised to consider your situation way before you have to.
Right.
Unfortunately, some of the times what I have is children of people that had not necessarily made a good plan, and all of a sudden mom needs assisted living or dad has passed away, and that's a lot of the people that I help. But my goal would be to have people better prepared for all of the things, and there's so many things to consider for communicating amongst the family before that time. I'm actually doing another seminar in the end of October at Greater Good Health with a gal that calls it passing the baton, and she has a card game basically to help people discuss end of life choices and end of life how you would like to have everything settled out, so as well as having estate planners, that kind of thing. It's just great to have the freedom to know it's okay to talk about all of it, because sooner or later the bad news is we all will die. So we want to treat our family with as much kindness and gentleness and be more prepared.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. It was definitely something that kind of surfaced for me when I had got my license for financial advising because it's not really something you think about. And then even just talking to people and communicating with them and that they hadn't even considered it. There's programs out there that you can actually pre-plan your funeral so that your family doesn't have to, which is so amazing. So I'm like, I don't want my kids to have to deal with that. I actually just I lost my dad a couple months ago.
Oh, I'm
And
so sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay. He also had his license for financial advising too. And it's it's crazy to think that like you don't anticipate, like obviously nobody anticipates like them passing away early, but having that stuff in place before, it's already hard enough to grieve and go through all of that. So having everything organized, I think, is super helpful. There was actually a book that I stumbled upon on the internet. I don't know why it popped up, maybe from the algorithm sending me things after my dad passing away, but it said something about like how to declutter so that your family doesn't have to after like you pass away because it's hard to get decide what to keep and what not to keep.
Exactly.
So, is that
Exactly.
like the seminars that you do? I feel like there's probably a lot of information about that stuff too, right?
Yes, that's exactly one of my topics that I did not that long ago was decluttering or looking at doing it. Do it now. If you're going to downsize later, if you're going to do things later, you may find out that your family doesn't really want all your stuff, sad to say. And so maybe you want to find that out before you just leave everything for them, or there might be a time that they can enjoy what you have right now
Yeah.
instead of waiting until later. Maybe it's china, maybe it's something that they would love to have a picture, some pictures or things. So just by, I think it's just kindness to our children to look at just getting rid of clutter, and it's kindness to us too because we don't need to deal with all this stuff and have storage units and garages full in case anybody does have to deal with that in the near future.
It's a lot. They might need to. Have you ever heard of Maria Cotto? I feel like
Yes.
there's a lot of people who know who that is, but yeah, if it doesn't bring you joy, then why are you holding on to it? Yeah. I don't want to have to go through anybody's stuff ever again because it
Yeah,
is really hard to decide.
it
And
is.
you just want to keep all of it. Do you have any like tips or anything like that to share with people or like realtors who might be listening to this as to like how to wrap your head around downsizing and like deciding what to get rid of? And
Yeah. Yeah. So downsizing overall, downsizing and aging in place are two big topics. So if you do want to age in place, then you need to have a place that's safe to age in place in and be able to care for it and do all of those things. So those are things that we can always look through a house and kind of say, maybe you could make this a little bit better, bring the washer and dryer here, do some things that consider safety as well as the possibility of aging in place. But as you look at your stuff, we all have so much and it means a lot to us. And so maybe a picture of it would be a lot better process than having the item that you have. And like I say, with 17 grandchildren, I had a friend that did a very fun thing. She would have the kids would come to her house, especially her own children, and she had a permanent marker and they would pick up something that they really loved and write their name on the bottom of it. And they could only
oh,
do so many at a time so that one child didn't run around, which I would have had one that would have ran around and wrote on everything. But so it was a cute idea though, because the idea is some of the family members that you feel would really appreciate something might be nice to give it to them now. But just being free from clutter in your home and in your garage, all of those things, there's things that can be put to better use by other people and just gives you a sense of freedom to not have so much on your mind of what you might do with it or when you might use it. And you're amazed at how much stuff you really don't. A year later, you haven't used it at all. So those are the things to consider. Maybe there's a better home for them.
yeah, I can't imagine how the accumulation goes over the years. So I'm 33 this year and I have two kids. And every time I move, so there's like a stages of life where you're upsizing and then you're downsizing. But as I've moved into these larger houses, I have filled all the spaces.
No.
And then I'm like, but why? Like, why do I have all this stuff? And I'm like, holy cow. So I'm in the process of getting rid of stuff too, but I can imagine the accumulation of things over the years. And
Yeah.
then the stress of having to go through all of that takes
Yes.
a lot of time.
And a couple of my clients have been children of parents in our area, and one had her mom have to move to assisted living quickly. And she was quite a great collector, we will say. So
That is
she,
like the nicest like way to put it. Like the realtor fluff talk right there is
yeah, there
thank
you
you so much. Okay.
go. But she was very clean, but she had maybe 18 suits for working out at she's 80 now, and some of them are tags on them, all these kind of things. And then just Christmas that would fill Target, just so much Christmas stuff, those kind of things. And so I was able to help her get vendors that could come and help with an estate sale that would move out stuff and donate it to different places. And then there was a whole pile that I had a young man that was very kind. I try to find any of my vendors, I want to make sure they'll be kind to seniors and fair.
Mm,
And so I like to meet them in person before I add them to my vendor list.
yeah.
And so he came in and just hauled out, oh my gosh, so many things from the basement. The basement was the scary place because those were where everything went when she first moved in and never came back out, and would just collect heavy sewing machines and all the things that she wasn't even able to use anymore. So
Oh,
considering getting those out beforehand is just a kindness to our families.
yeah, no kidding. And then okay, so there's a few things that you had said, and I just want to get clarification behind them because you specialize in this. But for people who don't specialize in it or are like just trying to learn
Mhm.
about it, there's a couple things that you had mentioned, and I'm hoping to get a little bit more clarity on it. When you say age in place, I'm assuming that you're meaning staying in the home that you're in for the long term.
Yes.
Now, when you say aging in place, I'm assuming that you're staying there until you need to potentially go to a care facility? Or like, what normally does that mean? Like, how long is that?
Yeah, it's so dependent on the support that you have and the place that you have. And that's where, so if you can get main floor living, you're going to be able to stay in that a lot longer than if you have to, like in my case, I have a washer and dryer down these kind of
Mm,
creepy stairs.
right.
And those would not be safe for me to stay with forever. It also depends on the health of the person. But there are so many programs that will come and they will bring meals. They will bring home care to you. I have interviewed one of the people that provide, it's a new kind of program that kind of will give you the connection on their TV through internet. You get a broader view of their room to see if they're starting to have issues of collecting things. So those are the things you have to watch for. So I also talk about what to worry about if your parents may need help. So bruising, if you start seeing bruising on your parents, or you feel like there's food out a lot and they're not quite maybe functioning, medicine is a big deal. And
Yeah.
so you can get people that will come in and help arrange that, make sure that happens, or you can use some of these different software programs to have your senior make sure that they've done it and click it off. So there's just lots available if you do want to stay in place. Unfortunately, some of the assisted living places have such great care, but they're very costly. And as from doing financial advising, is a lot of people don't have that kind of
No.
money. And so there's two things you can do. One of it is if you own your home, then maybe that's something that you could go ahead and sell and use for that kind of care. But if you can look to trying to stay in your home even another 5 years, might be very helpful to your finances.
And then, so something that I didn't even think about with you being a senior specialist and talking about kids and noticing things in their parents and stuff like that. Even being a senior specialist, it sounds like you're also able to, you're a key component in helping kids who are also supporting their aging parents in the transition as well. So even though they're not the senior, they're obviously needing your support and knowledge
Right.
for it as well. Because, yeah, I was curious to know how you meet your clients other than the seminars and how you found generating leads and prospects for that demographic. Because obviously, we're talking about helping this demographic of people, but then you'd also have to have those connections. So I'm curious to know how you've been finding these people outside of the seminars. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to do more video and such to teach people a little bit about it. But I also have relationship within my church, within the chamber. I'm a big member of the Billings chamber. Sorry.
Oh,
And I am able to meet a lot of the younger generation. I don't think that when they don't realize what they are going to come up against, it's just an eye opening experience for them.
yeah.
And so I also interview a lot of vendors that can help seniors. And through them, I get a lot of leads. Had leads from lawyers, from moving people, from estate planners. So anybody that's reaching out to it. But for the younger people, I think it's more so just the education format, not necessarily at the seminars, although they're welcome to come with their parents and try to find out more of what to do. But a lot of them I have found are out of state and may need more help that way. So pretty much referral also. So the clients that I've helped that have had parents that they've had to do things for quickly have then spread the word for me also.
Yeah. Yeah. And now that you're saying it, I think that it would make a lot of sense for the like lawyers, for example, because they
Mhm.
get approached for wills and estates, right? So then they
Right.
obviously have a connection to people who might need your services, or even the financial servicing industry, right? They're talking about retirement planning and all of that kind of stuff. And again, like wills and estates. So then they would also, yeah, that it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense that you're looking for vendors that you know and trust so that you can also send their way and then vice versa. I
Yes.
really do believe in networking and then having a team. And even, I think a lot of times people think when I say team, I'm meaning like real estate team, which means that you have the team leader and then the agents there.
Right.
But when I say team, I'm meaning like the lawyers that you know and trust, the inspectors and trust,
Mhm.
the financial advisors, the mortgage bro, like all of that stuff. Sounds
Right.
like you have a really solid team of people that you know and trust that you're comfortable with sending people to, and
Yes.
vice versa.
Yes, even the bankers and the movers and all of those kind of people. So next week I'm doing a booth at one of the assisted living. So when assisted living people reach out to get people on their waiting lists or for the future, it's their children that I'd also like to reach out to. So then I kind of market to that. It's not just a lot of times people will come with their senior to see what different options are available in the future. And so that's where I'd like to come in and help them set up, just like a lawyer would with or a estate planner. Any of those kind of things, those are all things that you need to take into consideration. And right now, a lot of people don't even know what they have in their homes because of the prices of things have gone up, which has made maybe it's really hard to maintain their home now. And it might be best to look at some options instead. And I'd like to also have on my vendors list heating people or anybody that can help them maybe paint something or just fix something up so that their homes don't fall into disarray.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm just thinking about all the points that we've chatted about so far. Indirectly, we've talked a lot about like marketing, and then we've also talked about how you've generated leads and networking, all of that stuff. So with that being, I was wanting to quote unquote change gears, but then I'm like, oh, we're not even changing gears. We've been talking about the real estate side of things as well as talking about things for consumer purposes as well throughout the whole entire conversation we've been having, which is really cool. But I was curious to know, for the realtor perspective of things, if they're wanting to work with seniors or they are currently working with seniors, what do you think current realtors are missing when they're working with seniors, like that they might be approaching it incorrectly?
Yeah. You know what I have seen is I have seen myself. Let's say I went to visit a lady that is about 80 and her two sons are there. And what they were trying to do during the conversation was dominate the conversation and talk about their mother, even though she's right there, instead of talking to her. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it can be a thing that we can find ourselves in when we are trying to help a family negotiate the future of what the situation may be, is to be very sensitive to people my age and older. We still have our minds, we've had a life, we have a lot of experience, and we have our own desires. And so I think just being sensitive to that. So I would continually ask her, how do you feel about that, Joyce? And how do you want to handle that? And so I think in any of the area of kind of end of life stuff, that's a consideration that they should consider. But also just how to respect that they may want to be in their home for a long time. So are you willing to help people now that may not need you for years to come? And that's where I think with real estate, with anything that we do that is trying to add value to people's lives, that we have to consider that for you, the best thing may be to age in place and not to go ahead and downsize right now, but
Yeah.
giving them their options and then making sure that you don't side with any kind of part of the family, that you can bring a calmness and a consideration to all the needs of both the children and of the care for the parents.
Yeah, I think that's so important. There's a number of people, I believe, that are in the industry and they are tackling it more like a sales industry as
Right.
opposed to a relationship industry. And I always say when I'm helping clients that I am here to give you all the information, and that when we're navigating it, there's pros and cons to everything. It's like a flow chart, right? It's okay if we do this, there's this could happen or this could happen. And then this could happen or this could happen or this could happen or this could happen.
Right.
But our job is to give all the information so
Right.
that they can make an educated decision for them and their families, not say, oh, this is what you should do. I
Right.
think it's such a mistake. And when you do that, you are making it feel like you're in a sales industry because it feels like you're pushing them a certain direction, which that's not our job.
And it's
So
giving them all the options, but also the realness of the timelines. So let's say they are thinking mom next year might need to go into assisted living. First of all, find one, get yourself set up, that kind of thing. But also, if you need to sell the house, it's not going to be done tomorrow. And
yeah,
especially in our market right now, it's a little slower. Things are moving a little slower than they had been for a season. So maybe you want to talk to somebody to find out both what's the value in your home and then what kind of timeline are you needing to consider when you're maybe looking forward to the next change. And maybe it's not assisted living, and maybe it's going to Arizona and just enjoying the warm weather. So any of those kind of things, we can be a big help as realtors. And so if you want to specialize with seniors, especially, do consider going to the NAR website and then getting the senior real estate specialist specialization. I don't
like a
know a better word for it,
certification.
but certification. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do learn a lot. And then monthly, you get a lot of updated information about what's going on with our 55 plus community.
There was this actually, I'm curious to know your perspective on this as well. I ended up taking a negotiation course a number of years ago, and it talked about the different generations. And
Uh-huh.
we brainstormed. It was like, okay, so if you're working with a millennial, like, what do you think that they want out of their realtor? And how do you think they're going to negotiate? Like, what preferred methods of communication do they have? Stuff like
Mhm.
that. So there was one piece that I really took away from that, and I'm curious to know your perspective or if there's anything you'd like to add to this, is that anytime that I work with somebody who is in the senior demographic, I time block a large chunk of time. And
Yeah.
I remember when I first got into real estate 10 years ago, and I made the mistake of treating everybody the same. And that was thinking that they wanted me to get in, get out, give them the facts, all the things. And that's not the case.
No.
That's the thing that they're doing that day. Like, you're their social
Right.
aspect
Yes.
for the day as well. And so that was something that I really took away. And I've had people bake me bread and share with me like the canned jam and tell me all the stories from when they were kids.
Right.
And I, yeah, it was a really big takeaway for me. So is there anything like that that
Yeah.
you would say is a missing component for people that they don't realize is important to the senior kind of demographic?
Yes, exactly what you said, to allow them more time. I will not have a senior person or different people depending on the way that they like communication, but I won't have them e-sign unless I have already gone over the whole contract with them in person so that they know. It's intimidating if you're not used to doing anything like
Yeah.
that. It's very intimidating to just click and you're good. And people have difficulty. Myself, my reading glasses have grown stronger and stronger as I've aged. And just to even see things and for them to think that they're going to read it or manipulate their computer correctly, or I can mess up on that. So just that sensitivity to allow more time, and that relationship might be very special to them. And you
Yeah.
need to honor that and just be kind and sensitive when you are dealing with seniors.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love that. And then I guess my question that I ask everybody, and I always say fail forward. What is the one thing that you have learned throughout your real estate career that if you could start over again, you would do differently?
I think it would have been niching sooner.
Mm,
Like you say, I'm everything for everybody. And as realtors, we do a lot of education and we can learn a lot of things, but we can't know everything.
no.
And so by niching down, you can really add value to people's lives by focusing on a certain, if it's first time home buyers or it's seniors or it's VA, there's so much to learn in all of that. Also, just by niching down, I feel not only have I had better clientele that, are drawn to that, but I feel more purposeful in my life. So when I go do a seminar, maybe nobody there is really even maybe owns a house still or whatever. It's not for that purpose. It's just to bring value to the senior community, and that just pays back overall.
Yeah, waking up and doing the thing that you love every day. If you pick the niche
Mhm.
that you enjoy working with, you're never going to feel like you're working and you're really going to enjoy it. I always say I'm like birds of a feather flock together. So if
Correct.
you work with the clients that you enjoy working with, the referrals are going to just keep rolling in as well because you've done such a good job because you enjoyed doing it. And it, like you said, it just kind of like doubles down and you enjoyed it and they really enjoyed their experience. And I think it's really great advice. So I have a number of social media handles for you, which is amazing. I love that you have such an online presence. So if anybody wants to find Cindi, ask questions about being a senior specialist, work with Cindi, send referrals because
Yes, of
we
course.
all want those. Yeah. So it looks like you have Instagram, which is cindyjarvis.realestateagent, and then you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. I'm sure that if we just Google your name, you'll just pop up all over the place.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah. So I work with Engel Völkers in Billings, Montana, and my email is just Cindi, Cindi, Jarvis, Jarvis, at evrealestate.com. So if they really want to just talk to me personally, I'm happy to give any advice that I can concerning this niche that I'm involved in right now. And just if you have any questions about what to do for your own loved one, I'd be happy to add as much value as I can.
Oh, I love that, Cindi. That's such a nice offer. And you know what? There's not a whole lot of people, like I said, that specialize in
Mhm.
senior, like specializing in seniors. So yeah, this information is really great that you're sharing. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yes,
And I will
thank
put
you for
all of
having
your,
me.
yeah, you're welcome. And I'll put all of the handles in the show notes. So thanks
Thank
again.
you. Thanks.
That's a wrap on this episode of Real Estate Real Talk. Whether you're an agent building your business or a buyer or seller trying to get the real story, thanks for being here. If this episode gave you clarity, confidence, or just something to talk about, I'd love for you to follow, rate, and share the show. It helps more people find these conversations. If you have questions or want to connect, head over to SkyleighMcCallum.com or come hang out with me on Instagram. Thanks for listening, and I hope you catch the next episode on Real Estate Real Talk.